What's up, guys? I'm back with All Ball Talk. This is the series of going over the college football playoff games on one game on New Year's Eve and three games on New Year's Day. So today I'm going to be going over Ole Miss versus Georgia. Georgia favored by 6.5. So it should be an interesting game. They've obviously already played. And obviously Lane Kiffin's gone. Pete Golding's the head coach now, permanent and interim. Well, not interim, but he's coaching them right now. Charlie Weiss is still coaching for Ole Miss, and obviously they still have Trinidad Chambliss. They have a ton of weapons. All their talent's still there. Georgia's obviously been a perennial contender with Kirby Smart. The defense has not looked as good as years previously when they were winning national championships. But I think Gunnar Stockton's a pretty underrated quarterback. I think he's better than people think. But this Georgia team has felt kind of weird this whole year. Like, they haven't been super dominant. But I'm interested to see. So, looking back at my notes, for Ole Miss, I think if they can use Trinidad Chambliss' legs, I think he's obviously very mobile. And obviously, I think that opens up so much for the offense. Like, his ability to make off-platform throws and out of the pocket. Like, that would just open the offense up so much against the Georgia defense that's still really talented. Like, maybe they're not as elite as they were a couple years ago. And how good they've been with their D-line and stuff. They're still obviously an elite defense. It's a Georgia defense. Like, they have depth everywhere. They're going to be really good. They have a lot of talent pretty much everywhere. Also, Ole Miss, this is something I found. If they establish a quick drop back game, Georgia's actually 103rd against quick dropbacks. So dropbacks under 2.5 seconds. Like, this will be huge. Like, if they can get the ball early to the playmakers, and they can force, if they can kind of nickel and dime their way down the field, or if they can get a lot of yards after catch, against Georgia, it should be huge. Georgia's actually struggled with their pass rush this year. They haven't had that. They haven't had that super dominant interior D line play or really really good edge rusher. Like, it's been kind of weird. C.J. Allen's obviously insanely talented. Like, I mean, he can do pretty much everything on the field, just like a typical Georgia backer. But I'm interested to see, because Ole Miss, on defense, on offense, they need Trinidad Chambliss. He needs to use his legs. They need to have quick dropbacks, quick plays, and kind of nickel and dime their way down the field. And as long as if they can convert in the red zone, I actually believe in this Ole Miss defense. And I think for Ole Miss's defense to obviously be really effective in this game, they need to force Stockton to use his arm, which a lot of players have been doing. If you can stack the box against the Georgia run game that actually has not been as good. Nate Frazier's pretty good, but they've only been averaging 186 yards a game, which is not great. And I think if they can force, if they stack the box and they get pressure on Stockton, like, if you can single-handedly force Stockton to win the game and he wins the game, I think you can live with that. I think that your game plan worked. But the one thing you can't do is let the other playmakers play really well, like Zachariah Branch. If you can't let their playmakers get loose, because it's still Georgia. They have athleticism and talent everywhere. The O-line hasn't been as good as before, but Ole Miss, their red zone efficiency is actually really bad. Like, you would assume it'd be better, but if they're efficient in the red zone, they convert 7 points when they're inside the 20. Like, I think if they're able to score on the Georgia defense, I believe in the Ole Miss defense or in the offense a hell of a lot more than I do the Georgia offense. I think that Ole Miss has the better quarterback. I think they have the better running back in Kawan Lacey. And I think overall, if they can win the line of scrimmage, I think obviously whichever team wins the line of scrimmage is going to win. But I think Ole Miss has the potential to dominate the line of scrimmage, because this Georgia D-line is not the Georgia D-line of old. It's not crazy good, and neither has the O-line been for Georgia. Like, this entire year, nobody has looked at Georgia and been like, man, like, that is, like, this team is elite. Like, I know that they're number 3, but it's like there's Indiana, Ohio State, then there's a tier gap, and then there's Georgia. And I think that people would universally agree on that. Georgia's still obviously an elite team, but I still think Ole Miss is a really good team, and I think that I believe in Trinidad Chambliss. I think he's really really good. Um, in my opinion, I think Ole Miss has a good chance, a good shot at winning the game. On the Georgia side, if they can establish a run game, they can get Nate Frazier going. And if they can open up the game for Gunnar Stockton and make them a two-faceted offense, or multifaceted offense, if they can get the run game going to open up Stockton's, because I think that if there are games where he gets stuck with his in the run game, if his run game doesn't look great, there is. And if you force Stockton to win with his arm, I personally don't think that's possible. Like I don't believe in Stockton as a passer, but I believe in Stockton as a quarterback when he's running the ball effectively, scrambling and throwing the ball, and when the game is opened up for him, I think that he's a talented quarterback. I think he has the ability to lead the team to a win, not single-handedly though, like not with his arm, but his full skill set. He's a talented quarterback. Like he's not anything. He's not terrible. He's not bad. I think he's still adequate and good. But other than that, I think that if they can, if Georgia's defense can attack and play aggressive from the start, and if they can I would probably, my game plan would be I would stack the box a little bit. I wouldn't let Kawan Lacey run free, and then I would try to get Trinidad Chambliss out of his flow, so that maybe you can get your early first half lead. Maybe the first half ends at 13-3. And if you can get that, I think that Trinidad Chambliss is probably gonna get into rhythm at some point. But if you can get him out of his flow early and put up some points, which is doable on the Ole Miss. The Ole Miss defense is nothing dominant, but they're really good, but they're not unscorable. You can't. It's not like you can't score against them. And the Georgia defense or the Georgia offense is still a talented offense. But objective number one is if Stockton doesn't make plays with his arm. Like, if he can make plays with his arm in that, like he did in the Tennessee game, then I think you're looking good. I think this should be a really good game from Georgia. I think Georgia has a good shot at covering, but me personally, I'm gonna take Ole Miss to cover the 6.5 spread. I think this game is actually higher scoring than the other ones. I think this game will end up probably, in my opinion, I think it would be 34-30. 34-31, maybe a little bit lower, maybe like 31-27. But I think Ole Miss covers. I think Ole Miss is still a really talented team. I think the best. Maybe I disagree with Pete Golding being the full-time head coach, but I think that announcing it and not letting him get an interim, I think just announcing it straight up and having him be the next coach is definitely going to help this team with their continuity, but mainly like they're players that are just, like they know that he's gonna be there and they're gonna play hard. Not like they wouldn't play hard in the first place, but I think that knowing that Pete Golding is gonna be there next year and beyond, will definitely bring some juice that to this team that is much needed after Lane Kiffin kind of left them in the dark. Like I mean, if I was Lane Kiffin, obviously you would. I mean, LSU is a top 5 job in the sport. You'd obviously leave, but in my opinion, I think Lane Kiffin sometimes needs to learn that it's not always better. I think that there's a chance that Lane Kiffin doesn't turn out a good hire for LSU. Although I think he's a good coach, but that's for another video. But I like Ole Miss to cover. I think Trinidad Chambliss is. I think he actually could find a role in the NFL. I think he's that good of a quarterback. I think Kawan Lacey's really good, and I think if they can attack Georgia in the run game, if they can open up. If Kawan Lacey can run for 95, 100 yards, maybe even like 85, 90, I believe in the Ole Miss team to score a lot of points, and I think that I think it looks good. I think that Ole Miss is a really good team, and Georgia might not be the contender that they have been lately, which obviously that's not a hot take, but this Georgia defense they're not unstoppable. Obviously they stopped Ty Simpson and Bama, but I think Ole Miss's offense is actually better than them, and I believe in Ole Miss to cover. I think that this is a 3-point field goal game, and it should be a really good primetime game. But yeah, I believe in Ole Miss. And like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear your guys' predictions and takes about the game or the teams in the comments. And yeah, so until you see you next time, I'll see you.